Hi guys, my name is Marnie Russ and I am the National Kitten College Program Administrator at the Animal Welfare League of Arlington in Arlington, Virginia. A few years ago, we decided to start a kitten nursery within our facility to see if we could address the needs of regional kittens that were being euthanized at night, predominantly bottle babies, those that didn't have care overnight. So we started this taking in about 92 kittens a year. In 2017, we started this program. At the end of 2019, we ended up taking almost 1,400 kittens in. So we have a lot to offer of ideas and things that we've done that hopefully can help you. The idea of this video is to help teach you the basic needs of bottle baby kittens. Everything is very basic and lots can be expanded upon. We'll offer you lots of website information on our website, as well as you're able to contact us anytime you like with follow-up questions. We do have an apprentice program that we offer on site at the Animal Welfare League of Arlington, and we also send people out to go to your facility and help train your people and your fosters to do similar to what we did in Arlington and help save the lives of these neonatal kittens. So you have a bottle baby kitten that you found or the shelter has given to you, and it needs to be taken into your home to be cared for. The important thing to remember with kittens like this is that we can't kill them. We can only save them. These kittens have no ability to survive on their own in the wild. So the only thing we can do is save them. It's important because a lot of people don't want to take in bottle babies because it's scary. And it is scary, you know, they're very small. Most people have never even seen a kitten as young as, 4 or 5 days old. So you're worried that they're incredibly fragile and that something you might do might kill them. But it's important to remember that you're their only chance. So essentially, when kittens come to us in that form, they're DOA. They have no chance. The only thing you can do is to save them. And I'm here to help you learn how to do that. I do have a kitten for you. I'm going to show you a basic intake for you to do within your house once you have a kitten that's going to be staying with you for a little while. So we're going to start with the intake exam. When the kitten first comes to you, whether it's directly from a rescuer or you found it somewhere, or if you got it from your shelter, it's important for you to assess the kitten so you know what differences the kitten makes from day to day. I have a kitten here. His name is David. He is 4 days old, and he was lost without his mother. His mother got trapped at a TNR site, and when they did the TNR, they realized that she was nursing. So the amazing rescuers went out and found 5 babies. So we have all 5 of them, and they're all doing really well. When you're looking at taking these kittens in, it's important to be sure that, number one, they're healthy and able to be saved. If a kitten is born prematurely, they will not have fur on their feet or their ears. Sometimes a mom will, if a kitten's not fully formed, a mom will leave that baby to pass, knowing that it's not going to make it. Sometimes those still make it though. But if you're looking at basic bottle baby feeding, I might find a more experienced bottle feeder for that. So when David first came in, the most important thing that you need to do to start your care of this kitten is get a weight on them. Kittens that are healthy gain weight every day. We will have a weight chart that you can find on our website to give you an idea of what kittens should weigh. Keep in mind that kittens that come to us are very compromised. So they may be a little above or below, but you should have an idea about where they should be and how much they should be gaining each day. So what I always do is just get your basic kitchen scale, like right here. We got this for like $7, I think, on Amazon, and a takeout tray. Put your takeout tray on the scale, zero it out, put your little bundle of love in the tray and see how much they weigh. David is now 4.9 ounces. Yesterday, he was 4.7. So he's doing really well. That is a great way to know that he is doing really well. Another way to figure out how your kitten is when you first assess it and it comes in is this kitten full, or has this kitten gone a long time without eating? If you hold a kitten up under their arms like this, and they look like a pear, like this one does, you'll see he has a pear shape, he's eaten recently. So that's a really good indicator on the health and how long they've gone. Of course, when we first got David and his siblings, they'd gone a long time without feeding. So they looked very differently. Another thing to do when you first get your kittens is to take a flea comb and run it through them. You want to make sure at the time of doing your intake, you have a white blanket. Not necessarily a towel. The thing to remember about neonatal kittens is they have their little claws, but they're not retractable until they're older. So if their claw was to get looped into one of the terry cloth loops and get stuck there, they could actually dislocate their shoulder. So we always use like a flannel or a fleece, and always have it be white, because you want to know if something's coming off of these kittens, what color it is, to help diagnose what it is. And you can run a flea comb just back up around the kitten the back way. And if anything comes up, you'll often find flea dirt, which is an indicator that, there have been fleas there. Fleas were present. You can also just have regular dirt because of where they were found. Sometimes we see ticks or maggots on these kittens. The best way to deal with that is to give them a bath. And bathing kittens is very easy. The most important thing to think about when you bathe a kitten is that you want to make sure they don't get cold. They are not able to regulate their own body temperature until they're much older. So you want to make sure that you don't bathe them unless they have an issue with something on them. And you can also always use a baby wipe or something that's a little less invasive. I also always take a white cotton round and clean around their face. I do their eyes and their ears. Now this is something the mother would normally do, so they really generally like it, but keep in mind that kittens don't have any way to ward off bacteria on these little tiny openings. Their eyes won't open till they're about 7 to 10 days old. But as it starts to open, bacteria can creep in, and we want to make sure that their eyes are healthy once they are open. So a great way to do that is just take a warm cotton ball or cotton round and just clean the face. So I do that all the time too. Once I do take all the notes with these kittens, I put it and record it on a sheet of paper. So I'll have a feeding chart, which we're going to go over feeding momentarily, but basically we have notes. So every time you see your kitten, you want to make sure that you have an idea of what's going on with them. So right now, just looking at David, I know that he's 4.9, so I know he's gained weight. He's active, he's vocal, which is all signs of a healthy kitten. He's warm to the touch, which is always something that you want. You never, ever, ever want to feed a cold kitten. It's important to get them to room temperature before you feed them, because when they're cold, their insides are not functioning. And so we want to make sure that if they are given food, their body's able to accept it. So that's the basic, very basic intake exam for you, and a starting point off for you and your kitten. Now we're going to talk about housing. So you have this little kitten, and how do you keep it warm and keep it safe? The thing that I recommend the most is using a top-loading carrier. So I have one right here to show you. This is just your basic top-loading carrier. And this is where a kitten like David, in his size, could spend the first 3 weeks of their life. It's very easy. You can put it on the ground and then open it up when you need it. You always have direct access to your kitten this way. So it's really important so the kittens don't get disturbed. If you come in from the side, it can be a little disruptive. But this, you can check on them without waking them if you need to. They're very accessible and very portable. So once you have your carrier, or you can use a box if you have a box at your house, so you have other animals that won't get into it, you want to line it and you want to warm it. Like I said earlier, we don't want to use towels. Towels obviously have the terry cloth. Anything that has a loop that their little claws can get into are a hazard for neonates. So we want to make sure we use something like this, like the white towel we had earlier. Light colors are great because we want to know what exactly that kitten has coming in and out of it. If they're sneezing, is there a discolored discharge in their sneeze, or is it just white? Like, was it just like a regular sneeze? Or is it something more concerning like a URI that we need to look at? So white blankets really help us get a handle on that, any light color cloth. And then we also need to keep them warm. The thing to remember is that neonatal kittens cannot regulate their own body temperature until they're much older. We're thinking 4 or 5 weeks. So what you want to do is get something like a Snuggle Safe. This is basically a gel-filled disc that you can fill up, or you can microwave for 5 to 6 minutes, and it will stay warm for 10 hours. When you do make this warm and put it in the carrier, you want to cover it with a cloth. It comes with a cover, or you can just tightly wrap it in the blankets you have in there, and make sure it's accessible so the kittens can go back and forth away from the heat and back onto the heat. You never, ever, ever, ever want to make sure that kittens are stuck on a heat source, because that can dehydrate them and cause bigger problems for them. But if they can go back and forth, then they're fine. You can also use we've always said previously that heating pads were bad because it's really hard to regulate them. They can get really hot, and most of them have like an automatic shut off, and that simply doesn't work for a kitten that's going to be in his carrier for 24 hours. They do have on the market now pet heating pads and hand warmers. So this is one that we got on Amazon. I believe it's just a hand warmer, but it's the same idea of pet heating pads. It's a very low heat. It's on 24/7 when it's on. It's easy to cover, and it's a great way for them to have a heat source all the time. Obviously, if you're traveling with your kitten, the Snuggle Safe is a better option. In immediate care, you can use a hot water bottle, and that would just be a bottle that is full of water that you heat really quickly, and then put it in with them. But the issue there is that those, when they become cool, will then pull heat away from the kitten. So you're doing exactly what you didn't intend to do. So they really only work very short term. So once you have your Snuggle Safe or your heating pad and your warm snuggly blankets in there, you can also put a stuffed animal. Some cats like to burrow, and that's a very calming influence for them. Some cats don't. Every kitten is going to be different, but keep in mind that you need to keep them warm and keep them safe with a stable blanket. Now it's time to start eating, and our little guy Patrick is ready. I can already hear him. I'm going to pull him out of the little nest that we've created for him. As you can tell, I'm not sure if you can see, but it's a nice warm little nest with a stuffed animal. He has the white blanket and he has a little Snuggle Safe going on in there. So we're going to take Patrick, and he's telling me he's hungry just by the way he's talking. We're going to put him on all fours. The most important thing with bottle babies to remember is that we need to feed them the way they nurse on their mothers, which is in the prone position. So they have all 4 feet on the ground. You can tell he's looking for a nipple right now, and I happen to have it. So we're gonna go ahead, and when you have a kitten like this, you wanna kind of put it on the side of the mouth, stop the bottle right in the center of where the nose comes together, and then just let them take over. Let them suckle the way they want. He's now totally in control of what's going into his body. Never squeeze to get milk in there. It may take a while, like I said earlier. They may need to know what this is exactly. It's certainly not the teat of the mama like they've been used to, if they were fortunate enough to have a few days. He likes to have a paw up, so I often put my my pinky out for them to hold it. And you can see I'm using my fingers to stabilize the head. This looks really easy, but I'll tell you right now, it is not. This is very difficult, and it takes quite a while. When you first get these kittens, they fight it because they don't really know what it is, and you'll get a routine with them fairly quickly. What I always do is I feed them to the point that they're completely full. I don't focus as much on the intake because every kitten is going to be built differently. The scale is going to tell me if they're getting enough food or not. If they are not gaining weight or not significant amount of weight, see how he spits that out? He is done. If they're not gaining a significant amount of weight, I need to increase either the times that I'm doing it or not necessarily the amount, because I always let them go until they're full. So after that, you have to eliminate. This is something that the moms do. I take simply baby wipes, unscented baby wipes. They're already pre-moistened and they're white, so we can tell. And you just want to kind of rub over their genitals, and sometimes they purr, which is a little creepy. But you know that means that they had to go. Sometimes they fight it like this, just like changing a regular baby's diaper. But you have to be able to go and clean let them release, or else they'll just hold it. Sometimes there are siblings that are together. They'll climb all over each other, and they will, what we call, stimulate each other, and then they'll pee all over each other. So I often, after I've done stimulating, and they will always potty, they will always pizzle every time, they'll pee every time they every time you stimulate them. They will not always have a bowel movement, and especially after the first few days you get them, they can go 24 to 48 hours without having a bowel movement, and that's okay, especially if you've just gotten them. After I stimulate them, I always top them off because for me, it's in my best interest to get their stomachs as stretched as possible. That's why this little 4-day-old guy can go 4 hours plus without having to eat. I wait for him to cry, so I'll put that little carrier right by my bed, and at night, if they start to cry, I hear it, and I feed them. It doesn't take long to feed them. Clean up their face, wipe them up, and then put him right back down, and he'll be asleep in about 30 seconds. So while it looks really easy, it actually takes some time to get the hang of it. So there are ways in which you can, if you're having a hard time bottle feeding, there are ways in which you can get food into these kittens' mouths without having to bottle feed them if you're having a really hard time and it's really frustrating you. It's also a good way then you can indicate how much is in there. We can pull from these, from these bottles from a syringe and fill it. And then you take the kitten. I'm not gonna actually feed him because he's eating and he's doing well on his own. But if you're going to syringe feed, the most important thing to do is go in from the side of the mouth. So you're gonna be going in from the side of the mouth, so everything that they intake and swallow is of their own volition. Again, if you go forward and they're not prepared to swallow, you can aspirate them, which can lead to pneumonia, which is very hard on kittens, and they often don't make it. So just doing a little side thing. You know they're getting the medicine. It takes a little bit longer. Some people do that. That's just how they do it. But you can tell he is full. He is definitely a pair. And he is ready for his nap, and we'll revisit him again in about 4 hours. So these are also very easy bottle babies. You know, I've had them now for 3 days. I got them when they were a day old, and they have had a bottle now and are used to it and kind of know the routine. The first few days can be a little difficult because they don't quite know what the bottle is, but just stick with it. Know that every day they will get better, and your reward is going to be on that scale. After you eliminate with them, make sure they're clean. Sometimes if they urinate over themselves, they might just need a quick little rinse off under the sink of just their hindquarters. You don't want to get anything sticky on them. And then they can spend most of their time in their little carrier. That's where they'll spend the majority of their first few weeks of life. And they're actually very easy because they sleep probably 96% of their day. The rest of the time they're just eating or being prepared to eat. So give it a try. Also, we have a lot of resources on our on our website that you're more than welcome to find. In here we have our appetite chart, so you can figure out how it is, like the time you fed, how they eliminated, if their appetite was good. If not, it's a great way for you to keep track of how that kitten is doing. If you take it into your shelter or rescue, then it gives them an idea of the health care of that kitten leading up to bringing back in. We also have fast bottle feeding facts. That's the information I spoke to you about earlier. That is from the National Kitten Coalition. It just gives you 15 reasons that may help you get along with the bottle baby and how the bottle baby can work with you to get the food in. And also 10 reasons why your kitten might not be nursing well and how to address those. And always reach out to your local resources to find out more about your kitten. Do know that all kittens have diarrhea, and when they eliminate, their fecal consistency is more like toothpaste. That is not diarrhea. Diarrhea is runny and is not, usually they can't control it. And anytime you change food, you usually see that. So that's something that your shelter or healthcare professional can help you with to make sure that the cats don't get dehydrated and lose grounding because of that. It happens very quickly with neonates. We will offer considerable resources. Please reach out to us and let us know if you have any questions, or if you want us to come to you to teach your fosters and your shelter staff how to do something similar to what we're doing, and to help go from 92 kittens to 1,400 in 2.5 years. So, or you're free to come to our shelter and learn, look at how we did it, look at the resources we used, and how we were able to make such an impact on kittens. Also, feel free to email me at mruss, R-U-S-S, at awla.org, or you can also reach us through our website. Thank you so much, and especially thank you for taking the time to save these little ones. Although it does seem scary, it's not as hard as you might think, and once you do it the first few times, you're going to be hooked. We will continue to update our resources. We'll look into older kittens next, so you'll have that video to look forward to, as well as other basic health issues. If there's an idea of something you'd like more information on, please reach out to us and let us know, and we will look into posting that. Okay, thank you so much. Save those babies.